All right, so good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here tonight for March's edition of Talk Dispatch with Tawana. I'm repping my truck and hustle hoodie today because it's always cold in my house. So we got kind of like a two-part tonight. So we're gonna start out talking a little bit about dispatching, what issues you guys are having, what concerns, what questions I can ask for you. And then our second half, about 20 minutes, we're gonna go in and talk to Miss Ebony Polk. She's gonna bring out some amazing information, something that you can add on to your businesses. And I will let her talk more about what she does and how she does it. So we're gonna jump right on in. So I see we have people from all over today. I love it. I love it. Thank you guys so much for being here. So we're gonna jump right on in. Like I said, the first part is gonna be specifically for you all. What questions you have, what concerns you have, what updates we got going on in the transportation industry. Most of you who are in the Slack group, you're always asking me questions. So now is your time to let me know what questions I can ask you today, and we can go ahead and get that particular part out the way. So if you have a question, you can either raise your hand or you can drop it in the chat, and then we will go, and then we will go ahead and get your questions answered. Y'all get shy when y'all get in here and act like y'all have questions. Then when y'all get in the Slack group, it's like we got 1,000,001 questions. But I will say, all right, so someone asked me earlier, so how is negotiating rates now with the fuel being, for the fuel increase? What are we doing now to add the increase into our fuel, into our rates? So I'm assuming what she's saying is, how are we negotiating now when it comes to the fuel increase? So you're doing pretty much the same thing. You just have to keep in mind that the fuel has increased, and fuel increases in different areas in different ways. Like for instance, right now, I think the average in California is about almost $7. In Georgia, the average is about $5 and some change. So it all depends on where you guys are sending your trucks. So keep in mind, wherever you're sending them, if they have to fuel up in that particular area, that's going to play a big part in their rate. So if you get somebody, let's say you book them a load going from Georgia to California, keep in mind when they get to California, their fuel is going to increase, which is going to eat out of their rate. So these are certain things that you have to keep in mind in certain areas when it comes to negotiating your rate and talking to these carriers, especially if you're dealing with 18-wheelers. 18-wheelers right now on the full tank is going anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 for one full tank of gas. So $2 a mile right now is really not going to cut it when it comes to those trucks. So understand your carrier's bottom line, and then also understand where you're sending your drivers to keep in mind where they have to fuel up from. You can always get the national fuel rate. Everyone knows you can also know exactly what the fuel is in each state. I'll drop the link in the group, in the chat, so you can see. Oops, my bad. And national fuel. Here we go. I'll drop this link. In fact, let me do a screen share right quick. Stop that screen share and show you guys this one here. Cooperate, computer, cooperate. Here we go. So I'll drop the link in here, like I said, but this is typically how you can pretty much keep an idea of what's going on when it comes to the fuel. And as you can see, this column right here for diesel, it'll let you know what the average is in each particular state. So just kind of like get an understanding of, the loads that you're booking and where you're actually sending your drivers, so that, it'll make sense on your rate. especially if the rate has tolls, if the rate is going into an area with high fuel, you want to be sure that you're including all of that in your rate. So whoever asked that question, I hope that it's not linked. I hope that answers your question on that. Let's see, someone asked, are there any special load boards for box trucks? There is no special load board for box trucks. I know we pretty much talk about this on every single call when it comes to box trucks. Box trucks is going to be a niche. It's not one of those things that you're just going to figure out in 5 minutes. You have to be sure that you're using your search criteria correctly. And mostly for box trucks is about building your relationships. So just to kind of give you a general idea, I will pop open a quick DAT search. Hold on. All right. So general idea, when you're doing your box truck searches, all right. So based on the type of vehicle that your truck has, so most box trucks nowadays have lift gates. So of course you want the V, you want the VG, and you want the SB. You can also use VH. Put in your origin. Computer operating Atlanta. Change this to both. That's pretty much what your search criteria are going to look like when it comes to searching for box trucks. And that's only the VG is only if your box truck has a lift gate. If your box truck does not have a lift gate, that wouldn't be a search criteria that would be useful to you. So you want to be sure that you're putting in whatever search criteria is that's concerning the box truck that you're dealing with at that time. And then from here, it's just about calling. Even if you're calling on one of these that just have B, as long as it does not say, as long as it doesn't say something like no box trucks, and some of these will, as long as it doesn't say no box trucks, and this is something that your box truck can fit, the object is to give them a call and find out what the dimensions is of the freight. So even though it doesn't say it's a SB for box truck, this is a load that you can call because it's within that perimeter of the weight and of the length. So when you're calling on it, you're just basically asking them, you know, I have a 26-foot box truck. My box truck can scale 10,000 pounds. My box truck can scale 99 high and maybe 100 wide or 102 wide. So you'll be showing, you're giving them the criteria of what your box truck can scale, and they're going to match that with whatever the commodity is. So if their commodity, say if he's saying his commodity, long as you can scale at least 89 high, then this is something that possibly can fit in your box truck. And then from there, it's just about negotiating the rate with that particular person. So a lot of times it's not about just looking for the ones that just has SB. You can possibly find, you know, the load or whatever it is that you're looking for without it saying SB. So it's a lot more calling when it comes to box trucks. It's a lot more work that you have to put into it. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. Who was that? Natasha, did that answer your question? Is she still on here? Yes, thank you. Okay, great. Anyone else? Any other questions? Does everybody on this call already have carriers? And currently dispatching? Ellen says yes. Tasha says yes. Okay. Miss Valerie, talk to me. What's going on? Are you currently up and running? You ready to go? Or are you ready to go, but you don't have carriers?
Tawana, how do you get carriers? I don't know nothing about dispatching.
We have to give you a full-fledged class.
Yes, this
Just
looked like a lot of work. I'm looking at this board you got up and I'm like, oh,
it's not a lot of work.
Okay.
All right, Miss Valerie says just getting started. So you have your business set up, and then you're looking for carriers, or where are you in the process? You can unmute yourself.
Okay, I just now getting my business set up, so I'm still waiting on my formations and everything to be completed.
Okay.
So I haven't started doing really anything yet.
Okay, sounds good. And you already have carriers in mind as far as who you're going to be dispatching for, or are you going to start your marketing process?
Yeah, I have one right now, and then I have another one in a couple of months.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So you're pretty good. No questions?
Oh, I have a lot of questions.
What's the first one?
Well, I mean, just as somebody mentioned a box truck, I was in limbo because I'll be dispatching my own carriers because they'll be working for me. So I didn't know. I'm still kind of in limbo in regards to the box truck versus the tractor trailer. So I'm still trying to see what direction to go in. Both of my carriers would have they have their CDL, so they can drive either or. But being here in Dallas, I thought that the box trucks were more prevalent than the tractor trailer. So I'm just right now I'm still in limbo on which one is best to purchase in regards to being able to get loads for and stuff like that.
So when you say that they'll be, so you're looking to be kind of like a fleet owner.
Yes.
So you're going to be buying the trucks and dispatching those trucks.
Yes.
Okay. Honestly, for me right now, this is just me personally. I would not buy. I wouldn't be buying a vehicle right now.
Okay.
The rates are entirely too high unless you find a wonderful deal. The rates are entirely too high on these trucks. Trucks have gone up almost 22%. I've seen box trucks for sale for like $50,000, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So unless you find a really, really good deal, unless you can hit up Ritchie Brothers auction and see if there's good deals going on at Ritchie Brothers or something like that, I honestly would not recommend. I've been telling all my compliance clients, I wouldn't buy a vehicle right now unless you just have money. It's just, you know, spending more than $30,000 on a box truck is.
So, what I mean, do you see the rates going down on them eventually? I mean,
we hope.
From here.
We hope.
Up from here. That's what I'm trying to. I'm like, I need to hurry up and get one before they start going up some more.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you look at it that way, yeah, definitely. You know, we the thoughts that we were having, statistics wise, would that come the end of February, March, their rates were going to go down on trusts, but I haven't seen it. But my one suggestion is, you know, don't just look into your area. You could purchase trucks anywhere. So if you find a good one in Idaho or a good one wherever, you know, you purchase a good truck wherever you can find a good truck. It does not necessarily have to be in, you know, the Dallas area. But I would, you know, definitely do your due diligence, look, and then of course, make sure that you take somebody with you to check the maintenance, double check on the maintenance before making a purchase. But like you said, they're either going to go up or they're going to go down. Do we know right now? No, we don't have a guarantee of knowing at this moment. But as of last month, they've gone up 22%.
Wow.
Instead of going back down. So definitely do your homework, get someone to go with you to be sure that you know, the maintenance and everything is up to par on the truck. And then from there, you know, if you find a good one, snatch it and put it to work ASAP.
So are you recommending the box truck over the tractor trailer, or in regards to getting loads easier, faster?
Easier is always going to be a drive-in. Always going to be a drive-in.
Oh,
So, but you know, you know, when it comes to starting a business, it's about what your budget looks like right now in order to start the business. But easier to find loads and to maximize your profitability is always going to be a drive-in. Drive-in or a hot shot.
okay. Thank you so much for that input. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
I hope it helps.
It did. Yes, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Rachel said box truck carriers only. Seems almost impossible to find loads on a load board for box truck. Not impossible, Rachel. Definitely not impossible because we're moving them. It's just that you do more work. So what are you using right now, Rachel? Where are you? What load boards are you using? Or what methods are you using? DAT? Only DAT? Because if you're only using DAT, then yeah. So yeah, you want to start utilizing some of the company load boards as well. You have to keep in mind, all those major brokerages do not. Oh, girl, you was just in class Saturday. Calm down. No, but keep in mind the when it comes to searching for those loads, don't just use DAT, don't just use truck stop. Utilize the company load boards, utilize CH Robinson's load board, utilize Landstar's load board, Nolan's load board. Most of the major companies are not going to place all of their loads on DAT or truck stop. They're going to put the majority of their loads on their own load board. So utilize, you know, those load boards as well. I think there's a list in Slack pinned to the top. If not, I will repost that list in Slack so that you guys will have that. It's just putting in the work. So box trucks are not one of those things you're going to make 2 phone calls and book a loads. So it's basically going to be, you know, you may make 5 to 10 calls before you actually get a load with a decent price. So, you know, box trucks is a niche thing. You just have to put into the work. If you put the work in and build your relationships, and keep in mind, every time you book a load, every time you get a rate confirmation, that's a relationship. So if you know this guy has box truck loads because you booked a load with him. So he's becoming one of your contacts. You're contacting him every morning, or you're contacting him every week to see what he's moving for that week. Hey, I ran such and such load with you. Do you have anything else moving this week? I'm in such and such area. Do you have anything in this area moving this week? You always want to keep in contact with brokers once you book a load and you do a good job with that broker. Keep in contact with him, let him know what area you're in, and then follow up with them at all times and see what they have moving. Just like you're trying to get, you know, your trucks moving, these brokers want to get their loads moving as well. So if you are able to get their loads moving by an email, by emailing them or even calling them, letting them know where your vehicles are located, that helps them as well. Okay, and that helps you to stay off of the load boards. You know, not stay off. I'm not going to say stay off the load board, but it helps you to, you know, to stay off the load boards as much as possible. And you have a better chance of negotiating with someone that you've built a relationship with. So when, you know, when you're talking to someone or when you're emailing someone and you guys, you've booked a load with them before, you know, he was trying to push it for $2 a mile, but you may be able to get $225 or $250 because you've done business with him before. So every single rate con that you get, you guys should be maintaining the list of everyone that you booked a load with. Hey, Tom, how you doing? We're back in this area. Do you have any loads moving out of Chicago? Hey, I got a truck in Chicago, a truck in Atlanta. Do you have any loads moving out of these areas? So that you guys can maintain that relationship. And when he knows the lanes that you're running, now he's emailing you or calling you, letting you know what trucks, what lanes he has available as far as loads. But if you're just waking up in the mornings and you're just looking at the load board and that's all you're doing to move your vehicles, that's not going to work. Y'all got to put in a little bit more work when it comes to moving these trucks, especially if you're moving box trucks. Okay. Makes sense? What else we got? Got a private message. Oh, why I have tried for weeks to register with selectors. Why won't they allow me to register with selectors? Okay, again, another question we talk about all the time. Selectors is a load board that is for that particular MC number. So when you sign up for Selectus, you're signing up for that board as one MC. So it's not like a dispatcher can go and sign up for Selectus on their own. Yes, Selectus has lots of loads and stuff, but if anybody in here has ever been on Selectus, those same loads that are on Selectus, they're on DAT. Okay, and most of the companies that are on that particular load board are on DAT as well. It's just, again, about you building your relationships. But a dispatcher cannot go and sign up for Selectus. Once you sign up for Selectus with that MC number, that's the MC number that can be booking loads with that particular load board. Once you start sending different MCs to book loads with on that particular board, then they start flagging you, saying that this is not the MC that's associated with the account. So that's why you can't do your own Selectus account, because dispatchers can't sign up for Selectus. It has to be signed up with a carrier. All right. Any other questions? Miss Jackie, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm walking.
Are you getting your exercise in?
I am. So I'm
What I'm
feeding
talking
my
about.
brain with what you have, and I'm taking care of the body.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, you be careful out there.
Yes, man. I was gonna tell that lady about Texas because I've been doing what you tell me about with my box trucks. There's a company called American Diamond Logistics out of Texas. American Diamond Logistics.
Mm-hmm.
So when you run with them too, if you build a relationship with them, that's all they move is box trucks out of Texas. So I run with them a lot, and they have their own load board. They'll sign you up and they'll start sending you the loads.
Look at both.
Yeah, so they'll send them to you. And there's another one, Rockin' J Logistics. They're out of Wisconsin. And
What's it called?
Rockin' K Logistics. And they move like 70 box trucks loaded per month, and they pay really well. Okay. So those two, I work with them. And then there's another one, Trust.
Jackie dropping the gems today.
Logistics. Trust Logistics, like he would just email me all the time with the loads, and just like your state, Trust, TRUST Logistics. He's out of he's in Illinois, I think, somewhere up that side. But so those three I know, they do a lot, and I do a lot with them. So just like what Tawana is saying, if you run with them and you keep in contact with them, they'll just call you, hey Jackie, I have a load or something, do you have a truck up here? They'll just email you all the time. And then the other one is the freight forwarder. What's the company called again? Can't remember. But he moves out of Cranston, Rhode Island. So he just sends you load all the time. Quote these, please. Quote these. Trying to remember the name. I work with the guy, Drew.
Is that freight first?
No, it's another one. This big freight forwarder. I can't remember. No, let me see. He's on my email here because he sent me a couple today too. Let's see. So those are some of the big ones I know that will send you loads if you move with them. He's with Tasmanian. So all of his loads originate out of Rhode Island, and he will just send you box trucks loads and dry vans and just say, Jackie, can you quote these? So, and I work with Drew Josephson. So if you kind of like you said, you build that relationship with them and you do a good job and you do what you say you're going to do, and you keep in contact with them, they just send you loads all the time. And if I don't have anything, I just respond. But if you have any trucks in Cranston, they're up in Cranston, so they're always running loads like all over box trucks. And they'll do dry vans too. But I said, hey, I don't have any dry vans, so he'll send me box trucks.
Okay, I will get that list from Miss Jackie, y'all, and I will post that. I'm trying to post them in the group for y'all.
Okay.
But I will get that list and make sure that it's posted in Slack for you guys. Thank you, Miss Jackie.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so like she said, it's definitely all about networking, y'all. Once y'all book these loads, or once y'all find out who have the box truck loads, stay in their chats. Make sure they know who your name is. Make sure, you know, when they know what lanes you're running and what trucks that you have to move. If they don't know, they're gonna post them on the load board and they're gonna try to get them moved as soon as possible. But if you're building relationships with them, then you have, you know, you have that list and you have that you contact on a daily basis. I'm gonna email somebody until they tell me to stop emailing them. Like, remove me from your list. You're gonna get an email from me every day, maybe twice a day, and it's gonna be long, and it's gonna say all the trucks that I have, where my trucks are located, what do you have? How can I help you move some of your loads today? Okay, so y'all gotta be building those relationships. You can't stay on the load board. You gotta talk to people. Build your relationship, build your network, and talk to people. And stay in that Slack group. Because Miss Jackie is in Slack, and Miss Jackie be in there every morning, dropping gems. So stay in the Slack group. That's where you're gonna get a lot of your questions answered. So y'all can't be in there being shy. All right. Okay. Well, so now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. That might have said.
Well, I got one quick one before we get to Ebony.
Go ahead.
So my quick little thing is I've been testing out the dispatcher thing to kind of see how it's gonna go with it for the last, it'll be a year in June. And when I say testing it out, basically I have I used to work with a logistics company, and the majority of those drivers have either bought their own trucks, start their own fleet, or work with another TPA. And so the one guy that I used to work for called me in, had me doing dispatching for him. So I've been doing that since June of last year. Now I have another driver who he has a dispatcher now, but it's not going well. And he has a contract with a couple different companies where he's already getting loads. So technically he doesn't need quote unquote dispatching, but he does want someone to provide like administrative work to basically make sure that the drivers get their loads that they're supposed to on a weekly basis, making sure the paperwork and everything is being in compliance and stuff like that. So with him wanting me to do that, that's kind of pushing me to go ahead and lead towards starting the dispatching process. So that way they'll pay the quote unquote dispatching company instead of me having to give several different drivers or different people like my information to do 1099s or whatever the case might be.
Okay.
So I guess my biggest thing now, I'm trying to figure out, would that be still considered dispatching, quote unquote? Because he doesn't need his trucks to be dispatched. They already have contracts with customers to get the trucks, to get loads on a weekly basis.
So it sounds like he needs somebody to do keep up with his compliance and do his administrative work.
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay, so for that, you have to determine what you want to charge him for that, or how you want to charge him for that. Whether it's I wouldn't recommend hourly, but you know, you can charge him a flat rate monthly. It all depends on what all of these, because compliance is a whole different ball game in itself outside of administrative. Because administrative can be doing his, you know, invoicing, payroll, that type of stuff. Compliance rolls into 2290s, IFTAs, UCRs, BCO3s, all that type of stuff. So if you don't know how to do that, then you can kind of filter that through people that you do know how to do it, or you can learn how to do it. But the main thing is to find out what he wants from you so that you can charge him correctly.
So the biggest thing he's saying that he does want, he has 7 drivers. Each driver does 2 runs out, 2 runs back each week. So he wants me to keep up with the factoring / invoicing for each load for each driver, along with making sure that they're doing their logs correctly for each day in and out. Well, of course, with logs, it had to be a 7-day, but he wants me to make sure they're doing their logs for their 7-day for each driver. Okay.
So it's kind of compliance, because you're doing keeping up with his HOS and his ELD. And then you're doing invoicing. So again, you just have to figure out what that means for you. How much time is that going to take out of your day? And then is it something you're going to do every day or something you're going to do every other day? And once you determine that, put a flat fee on it. $300, $400, $500 a month. And that would be, you know, what you would be charging. Yeah, Corinne, something like fleet management. That would be what you would be charging him. And then find out from him, you know, who does your IFTA, who does this, find out who does all of his compliance. If he doesn't have anybody specific that does it, then maybe you need to learn how to do it. So that way you're his compliance officer as well. So you can mix that, you know, you can just call yourself his compliance officer and then have everything all in one. But it all depends on what all he needs done. And then it also depends on just how screwed up he is. Because a lot of their paperwork is already messed up and you got to fix him first. That's a whole nother fee. Because I fix you and then I help you. So it's like a whole nother fee. So gather some more information first. If you need to touch bases with me afterward, after you gather some more information, just shoot me a message in Slack. And then we can kind of figure out what's a good rate for him. Okay.
Okay. Because the money that he's bringing in, I don't want to mess that up.
Okay. Yeah. So we don't want to mess it up, but we also want to make sure, you know, you can get paid properly and you can, you know, provide some type of value to him where he like, okay, yeah, I definitely need Andrea. She's providing some great value. She's keeping me organized, keeping me in compliance and all that type of stuff. A lot of times drivers don't realize how much they need us. When I was doing a guide today with his TPA and his compliance, I was like, you did such and such? No, I need that. You driving a truck, ain't you? So a lot of times they don't realize the things that they need. So you educate yourself so you can educate them.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Tawana, do you have a class that teaches us how to do all the compliance for the carriers? If one more person asks me that question.
We need
I am not teaching compliance. We'll talk about it, Jackie. Why you brought that up again? We'll talk about it. I'm not ready to teach compliance right now. It's a lot. I can, yeah, we'll talk about it later. All right. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let me put my little presentation. All right. So as I was saying, we have today, I wanted to bring somebody that was a wealth of knowledge to educate you guys on what is a DOT consortium third-party administrator and how can you all become DOT third-party administrators. I always tell you guys about adding value. I always tell you guys about adding services. You know, everything that sometimes dispatching goes, you know, a little down a little bit. One week you making $1,000, next time you making $400. But, you know, the more value and the more things you add to your services, the more income and revenue you can bring for yourself. And being a TPA is definitely one of those. So Miss Ebony is a TPA expert. She is the reason why Dependable Screening Solutions is up and running the way it is right now. She is the owner of Polk Medical Testing Solutions in St. Louis, Missouri. That's why she talked like that. Y'all don't pick on her accent. Only I can do that. But she's a wealth of knowledge. So she is going to come and tell you all about it. And then if you have any questions, she's going to sit around and answer all your questions up until midnight tonight. No, I'm just playing. So Miss Ebony.
Well, thank you for having me. Oh, I'm so excited to be here, you guys. And Tawana was like the very first person, her and Kaya Page, to take my class. So I was like so happy for them to trust me with teaching them everything that I know. So that says like a lot about me that she took my class.
And it worked.
Yeah. So like she said, I'm the owner of Polk Medical Testing Solutions in St. Louis, Missouri, and I have a drug testing facility where I do drug testing for DOT and non-DOT and a bunch of other services, but I love being a consortium. I love, you know, helping the trucking industry. So that's like my passion, is helping others and carriers and also drivers be in compliance. So I always target dispatchers because I want you guys to know that this is a great extra source of income for you guys, because like Tawana said, you know, sometimes it gets slow. So when it gets slow, at least you have like other incomes that are coming in to like kind of, you know, help with that slowness. And Andrea, like you were talking about being, you know, having your carriers be in compliance, this is like another way of being in compliance, because even though they're driving box trucks, they still have to have a drug test. They still have to have a medical card. Like, they still have to have all these other things. And I feel like the more and more people are getting into the trucking industry, and some want to go the box truck way because they don't want to be as, you know, in compliant as a CDL driver, they're going to be putting more and more guidelines and laws on box truck and non-CDL drivers. So this is a great way for you guys to make some extra money. I am going to pull up my my PowerPoint. Hold on. All right. Oh, hold on. Chantel, you might have to come help me. So my wife does all the computer stuff. I don't do that. Okay. So don't judge me. You got it. Okay. I think I messed it up. All right. Can everybody see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The road to compliance starts with a consortium, and it does. Okay, y'all. All right. This is just kind of like a brief overview. I know some people don't know what a consortium is, so I'm going to kind of explain it. I always say, like, we're kind of like the HR for the carrier's drivers. So we make sure that they have that pre-employment drug screen, that they're in a random pool. And although driver qualification files are not in our scope of things that we do, I have just added that service to my consortium so it can kind of set me aside from like other companies who are a consortium as well. And my carriers love that because I'm like kind of like a one-stop shop for like the needs that they need. So when they get their audit, they're like, okay, well, I know Ebony has all my information. So they just send me over their audit list and I literally knock everything down. So we're just managing their drug and alcohol portion of their company. This is just a little bit about, you know, me and my company, what I do. I'm a minority certified company. So when I go and bid on certain jobs, you know, a portion of that money is for us. So we're getting bumped up to that to the front of the line so that we can win those bids. We have a postal location. Everybody think it's so weird that I have a post office here. So we have about 400 customers here that use our address to get their mail and kind of build their business credit. So a lot of businesses, if you have a business and you're running a business from your home, it's great that you can have like an address that you can use so that you can build business credit. So we have like a whole post office here. We're committed to providing top-notch products and services to all of my customers who come in the door, whether it's a drug screen, a COVID test, whatever the case is. I'm always a vibe. Me and my wife both are a vibe, and everybody just loves coming in our facility. They always be like, it smells so good in here. I'm like, what is supposed to smell like?
I think they be expecting the facilities to smell like pee or something because they always say that about dependable. They be like, "Oh, it smells so good in here." I'm like, "What you expect?"
Is it supposed to stink or something? I don't know.
Maybe LabCorp be smelling.
Maybe. Compliance is the name of our field, but growing our business by lowering the negatives to make more room for the upward shift. So basically, I always tell people, like, yes, I want you to be in compliant. Yes, I want you to have all of these things. But more importantly, like, I'm building a relationship with you. So and that's what you want to do. When you're a dispatcher, you're building a relationship. You're networking with all these people. So while you're networking, yeah, you dispatch, but also say, well, you know what? I'm a consortium. I can send you to get your drug test. I can do your driver qualification file. I can do all these other things. And just like dispatching, consortium is about networking too. It's all about who you know, who you building relationships with, and how bad you want it. So these are all the jobs that a consortium does. Like I said, we manage the employer's DOT drug and alcohol testing program. We're providing nationwide DOT and FMCSA compliance. Oh, I almost choked, y'all. That's why I shouldn't have been sucking on that candy. We're experts, requirements and regulations of the employer. We're hiring manager, assist with the process. We report management, violations, return to duty status, filings, and etc. So the return to duty status, something is called SAP. So SAP is a substance abuse professional. So like say your driver has a violation in the clearinghouse, you can't work that driver. That driver has to go to a substance abuse professional in order to get their license reinstated to from prohibited to not prohibited. So they have to take these classes. So after they take these classes, they have to go into the return to duty status, and then they have to have follow-up testing. So most people, I'm not gonna lie, it just be like a one-time thing. You know, they smoked a little weed, they didn't know they had a random drug test and they failed it. But those are like the most humblest drivers. Those drivers, they are eager to get back to work. They want to work. They're not going to mess up no more. So they be excited for us as a consortium to help them get back on track of things. So that is like one of the most things I feel like lately, since I have been kind of like, that's been like my niche for my consortium, is just getting these drivers back to work. I feel like they are just so happy that, you know, that I'm helping them do their process. Although it's not me, they're doing the work, but they're just happy that I'm even educating them on how the process is. And I feel like being a consortium, that's what it's about. We need to educate the carrier and the driver on the rules of regulations of what the consortium, what our job is. We conduct queries annually, and that's in the clearinghouse. So once you hire a carrier hires a driver, yeah, we send them to get a drug test, but we do so much more. We make sure that that driver is compliant, because if he's not, he can't drive. So if he has a violation, like I said, in the clearinghouse, you can't work that driver. So you as the dispatcher, you're not making no money because the carrier don't have a driver. So that means that you're not making no money on your end. So you're missing out twice. So my thing is, even though you're a dispatcher, it's kind of like a domino effect. You know, if that truck is not moving, you're not making no money. The services that we offer are DOT, drug test review and reporting, audit reports. So basically, when your carrier has that new entrant audit, especially if they're a new carrier, the first 12 to 18 months, they're going to have something called a new entrant audit. So we help them get that paperwork all together when they have that audit. Random testing, that's something that they have to have. They have to be enrolled in a consortium, and they have to be enrolled in a random testing program. And it has to be through a software. It can't be anything like you put names in a hat, picking them out. No, it has to be a computer generated software. Why are you laughing, Tawana, for real? This happened for real. Substance abuse professional referrals, we give that. So I work closely with two substance abuse professionals. So I basically recommend any SAP drivers to these professionals to get their treatment. Supervisor training and education, NVRs quarterly and annually, record keeping and maintenance, and also clearinghouse setup. Believe it or not, it's still carriers that are not registered with the clearinghouse. It's still drivers that are not registered with the clearinghouse. Even now, if you're not a consortium right now, you still should be making sure that your carrier is in the clearinghouse, that they have their drivers in the clearinghouse, because that's something that's very important. If they get pulled over at a weigh station and they're not in the clearinghouse, or they have a violation in the clearinghouse, they can't pull off in their truck. It's gonna sit on the side of the road. So it's basically, we have to make sure that they're in compliance all the way around. Just a couple of things I've kind of already just discussed already. Driver qualification files, how important that is. I know that's not our job, but like I said, I added that as a service. So just getting that file together, you learn so much about the driver. You know, his MVR, is he a good driver? How many points he got on his license? Like, I just pulled somebody MVR the other day. It was like 19 pages. Like, I was told my carrier, like, you cannot hire him. Like, no. So you learn a lot about the driver, and your carrier is gonna like just love you even more by telling them this information. Clearinghouse reporting. If somebody comes in here, I had a person come in here every day the other day, and they refused their drug test. I had to enter them into the clearinghouse as a refusal. So now his driver's license is prohibited. He can't drive until he finished the SAP program. So when I first started, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I was a little green and I kind of cheated myself out of some money when I first started. But as I got, my foot, in the door and everything, and I got my little feet wet, I changed my prices. So at first I would have a company, whenever they would come in, I would kind of prorate their consortium membership fee. Tawana, do you do yours like that?
No, we'll have to talk about this little pricing list here. No.
Okay, so when I first started, y'all, I ain't gonna lie, this was my prices. This is what I was charging. And I was really doing a lot of work. I was going over and beyond. I was just like really like so excited to have my consortium up and running. I was so excited carriers were calling me and I was getting business that I kind of was like shortchanging myself. So this was my prices. So I don't want y'all to charge these prices, but this was my prices at first. So now this is what I charge. So I charge $3.99 now. So for up to 10 drivers. So when you become a consortium, you kind of want to shop around, kind of like, do your homework on other consortiums in your, area, and see what they charging and what they offering. So I bumped mine up to $3.99. No matter when you come in, that's just when your year is going to start because it's an annual fee. That first drug test is included. So I did include the first drug test, and then I included a driver qualification file. So I'm gonna just give y'all some numbers because people like numbers. They want to see what they can make. So I charge $3.99 when they sign up, and then I charge $99 for a driver qualification file. So when my carrier first sign up, and if they have one driver, it's $4.98. So if you have one company sign up for a month, one company each week, that's $1,494 roughly. Okay. So say you have two companies that sign up, a week. For that month, that's $29, almost $3,000, right? So y'all see where I'm going with this? So it's just saying just how bad you want it. So I've had 10 companies sign up in a week with me. Like I set myself a goal each month. I say I want to sign up 20 companies. And like when I fall short, I be mad, y'all. I be real mad when I fall short. Like I be mad because I done counted that money. You know how we are. We see that money. You done wrote it down somewhere. You done put how many bills you fit to pay with that money. So like I be real mad.
Right,
so it's all about the
for this month.
And y'all being dispatchers, y'all know about the hustle. So I mean, like you talking to drivers and you talking to carriers all day. It ain't nothing but it's gonna take you 2 seconds to be like, who's your consortium? 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be like, what is that? Because they don't know what that is. And then there you go. You fit to educate them on what a consortium is. So it's all about the grind, y'all. So I said my first 2 months in business, I made $5,000 each month. And like, it just kept going. And like, the more and more I started adding different services. So like now I add my drug and alcohol policy is in the $3.99 because I've had so many audits that ask for a drug and alcohol policy. So I made a drug and alcohol policy. So now I added that in there, and that still can be a separate fee. You can still sell a drug and alcohol policy to anybody, but I'm just giving you things that you can add on to set your business aside from any other consortium. And so we already did the math. So I hope y'all wheels is turning. You can do this from home. You don't need an office. You don't need anything. You can do this straight from your laptop. This is a home-based business. As long as you have a fax, a secure fax, a laptop, a printer, and I'm sure most of you guys have that, you can do this business from home. So this is not anything you need to just go out and buy a facility right now or anything like that, but you can do this business from home. And that's it. This is my phone number, my email, my website. On my Instagram is, what is my Instagram? Polk Medical Testing. If you send messages or DMs, that's not me talking to you. That's my wife. But I'm not that tech savvy, as you guys can see, but that's her. But I'm still going to get the message. So that's it. Do anybody have any questions?
You have a class coming up?
Yes. Yep. So the next class, I did 2 in March. So my next class is going to be April the 23rd. So yes, it's live Zoom. So everything is just kind of taught live. I have ADHD really bad. So I have to teach like how I learn. So It's live and it's very good. Like it's questions, like I answer questions, we talk. It's a really good class. My wife always get on me because I always go over the time because people be asking questions. I want to make sure, you know, everybody get their questions answered.
Right. I do the same thing.
How long is your class, Ebony? Like, is it a 2-day class?
No, it's one day. It's I do it on Saturdays and it's from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So no, I do it on Saturdays afternoons and it's you know.
And what's your cost for your class?
It's $6.99 for the class. It's I'm giving you demonstrations. I'm going through everything with you. I'm pulling up the clearinghouse. I'm telling you, like showing you how it looks, how it works.
I like your value. No, I just want to know because I love the whole concept. So I mean, yeah, you're educating us. So definitely it's worth that. I was just trying to understand, you know, so I know because I like what you're offering. And I'm just trying to figure out when is a good time for me to do it because I'm still kind of putting the structure in place for my dispatch company, like to hire dispatchers so I can free up some time. Because if I'm going to do this piece, I can't just add layer on here until I have just kind of lay that out. So do you do yours like quarterly or is it so if I miss one, I can jump in?
So I do it once a month. So at least once a month I do a class.
Oh, great.
So yes. I only did it twice this month because I only take like 5 people at a time because I feel like when it's a really big class, I can't really like, you know, make sure that everybody's getting what they need. I want to see like the look of confusion on your face so I can help you. And if it's too many people, I can't do that.
Okay. And will you also like explain, you know, because if you're doing like drug tests, like how we do with the labs and how we get affiliated with those percent. So you give us all of those training that we need.
I give you drug testing because I feel like you have to know a little bit of drug testing terminology. You have to know what a chain of custody form looks like. So I give you all of that in the class.
And do you have like a group, you know, like when I took Tawana's class, one of the things that I really liked was her Slack group, because, you know, when you finish the class, you're still trying to figure out, but you were able to just kind of go in there, and then other people had questions, you learn from those, and you know, whenever we posted a question, she would answer, and just things to kind of help. Do you have something?
I have a group. Yes.
Oh, great. Awesome. Okay. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, great.
You're not going to know everything that you need to know in those few hours. Like it's still going to be things that are coming up that you, and I'm still learning too. Like they change the rules all the time, you know, so yeah, we stay calling each other like, girl, did you know that, you know, so you're not going to know everything as soon as you get off the class. Like I'm going to make sure that you're in the group. And like I said, everybody's helping each other because that's what it's about.
Okay, sounds great.
I'm not gonna leave you hanging, Jackie.
And I can get like your information will be on your website, so I can check that out. And
I'll be sure to post her website in Slack.
Awesome, thank you so much. Awesome.
You're welcome.
So Corinne says, do you or any of your staff need any type of medical certifications to run any part of this business? No.
Nope. You just need to take the class and you good.
Yeah. So in mine and Ebony's case, we both do drug testing and consortium, but you can just do the consortium part. You don't have to do the drug testing. Once you get your software, you'll be able to schedule your drivers to go anywhere.
Yes, so you'll be all 50 states. So you can do, I think what's so good about me and Tawana, like we have a facility. So if we have drivers that are in our area, we just send them to our facility to get drug tested. But you definitely don't have to have a facility to do that. Now, if you want to open up a facility later down the line, I do consulting for that, but I only take people who are like dead serious about doing it because it's a lot of work.
It's a lot. A lot of work, y'all, but I love it. Do you do the testing or you outsource the drug testing?
So I do the testing. If they're in my area, I can do the testing. I can give them the drug test here in my facility. If not, I just send them to another facility in their area, wherever they are located. I get them as close as their home as I can. But you'll have your own lab accounts through the consortium software. So you'll have your own lab account and you're just kind of sending them wherever they need to go to get their drug test. And it doesn't just have to be, so I'm going to teach you in the class. It doesn't just have to be trucking. Like, I know we're in trucking and trucking is big right now, but it just doesn't have to be trucking. I'm going to make your mind think of like so many other things besides just the trucking industry.
Right. Other people, other companies and other industries need consortiums as well.
I'm already thinking.
She's like, I'm already thinking. I already answered that. The link is in the chat, polktesting.com for all the course information. How much would the class be? You said $699?
Yes.
$699. Yes. In the class, do you offer the setup as well for an additional cost?
What kind of setup? Like the software setup?
You mean for her to actually set up your whole business? Is that what you mean by that question? Tawana, can you post in the Slack group? I sure will. I think that's what she means. Like, if you like the way she set up dependable, you might have to give her your firstborn child for that one, child, because honey, she was on the phone with me every day. And she can have my firstborn child. I think that's what she meant. She does.
Yeah, like I said, it's really a lot of work to open up a drug testing facility. And I only teach people who I feel like are like really serious about doing it, because like we're going to be talking all the time. I'm going to give you so many things that you need to do. And like, I expect for you to like execute them, like to do it. Like, I'm not just, because I have a whole business that I'm running, a whole facility. So if I'm going to help somebody, like they got to be willing to do the work, because it's not easy.
Yeah. I would definitely recommend anybody that's interested, just start out with the TPA portion. The TPA portion can bring you $3,000 a month if you do it correctly. And then if you want a whole brick and mortar location, then fine. I went ahead and just went for the whole 9 yards because I figured, why not? So I think there's a few people on here that's actually been to my facility. So you see that we offer drug testing, fingerprinting, COVID testing, TPA, and anything else they're gonna let me sell in that doggone building so I can pay the rent.
So just do the TPA part first, Tawana, and then just keep adding after. Just start with that, please.
Unless you just want a whole bunch of random people showing up to your house to get a drug test.
No.
Yeah, see, the TPA part, you have to think about it, y'all. Y'all have to think about it in this sense. You're already dispatching for these drivers. So when they have other services that they need, what are y'all doing? Finding somebody else to do the service. Now, y'all can send them my way. I have no problem with it. Okay. But what I'm saying to you is eventually you want to get to the point where you're saying, I'm a full service dispatch company. Full service meaning handling that same person you dispatching for, you're handling their compliance. The same person you're handling their compliance for, you're also their TPA. And that way you can keep them abreast. Hey, just let you know if this coming up, if the renewals due, so and so. I have people right now, come April 1st, 37 people already. We have to go ahead and start doing IFTA because we already know that I do their IFTA on a quarterly basis. So these are things that you want to start learning to add to your business because, like I said, this dispatching is good one week and then the next week the trucks broke down, they're not running, so you're not making any money. So y'all have to constantly be thinking about those resources that you're providing to people that's already your clients.
Okay. And drug testing is every driver has to have it. So like that's like literally a no-brainer. Every driver has to have a drug test. They have to have be in a random pool. If they have an accident, they got to go get a drug test. So it's like literally a no-brainer. Every carrier that you talk to has one driver or multiple drivers that have to get a drug test. You got to think about it. Carriers are hiring drivers left and right all the time. They steady now working out. You got to get a new driver. Like you still getting paid though. They still got to pay you to work that driver, even if that driver don't last for 30 days. You still already got your money.
Right. Exactly.
So this could be Tawana or Ebony kind of go with this one. So I was in HR before doing the dispatching. And so I have a lot of connection with like local places that do drug testing, different things that the brick and mortar portion of the TPA would do. With that being said, if I was
not to cut you off, the TPA portion, you never need a brick and mortar. Like, there's no need for one. The drug center is what you would need somebody to come pee at. You know, you don't, for the TPA, it's all paperwork and insurance. So the brick and mortar is not needed for that part. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
I'm gonna
So,
give you
wait.
some pieces that you can add to make money while you're doing their TPA portion. Because like I said, even doing a driver qualification file, that's HR. You got experience in the hiring process already. That's just a feature. That's not our job, but we're adding that in because that's one less thing I gotta call somebody else or find somebody else to do for my driver.
Right.
So my brain, while you were talking, was working and thinking like, if I can get with that company, because I know the owner, like I made a great relationship with them while I was working with them, and they don't have like that kind of person at their facility. They really do cold calls to get customers, or people see an advertisement about them. That's how they're getting their customers and things like that, which I can take along with that to help them, but they can also help me by passing along some of those people that they're getting to be their custodian.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what you want to do.
That's how you think out the box.
And it just, like I said, it just doesn't have to be trucking.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
if you Google who needs a consortium or who needs a random pool or even who needs a drug test, you still can do that sitting on the couch as a consortium. You're just sending them to the facility to get it done. You're just the middle person doing the paperwork and giving it to the person to go get it done.
Okay.
Advertising that's what both of this business model. Absolutely. I agree, Ms. Chantel. Thank you, Chantel. You're so helpful. Any other questions from Miss Ebony or for myself? All right, so I'm definitely gonna drop her link.
Miss Tawana, before you go, just one quick question for both you and Ebony. Just so the TPA, you're saying it's just all the paperwork. You're just doing the paperwork and then you're sending those out, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You're just scheduling them. So if Tawana has a driver that she needs to get hired on, and she needs them to go get a drug test, she's gonna call me. I'm her consortium, and I'm gonna get the information, and I'm just gonna send the driver to go get his drug test. I'm gonna pull, make sure he's got his application for her company and all that kind of stuff, and make sure his MVR is pulled and all those reports are pulled, and then we're just sending them to get their drug test.
Yeah, and these are all softwares. These are just all softwares that you'll get. And like today, someone emailed me and say, hey, I need a drug test for James White. So she sent me James White information. I went in and I scheduled him a drug test and I sent her the CCF form, and she's way in Chicago.
Oh, wow. Okay. Sounds great.
They don't have, I'm not doing the actual test, but I scheduled her to another facility.
Okay. And this is an untapped market. Like, a lot of people, they don't know what a consortium is or even that they need one. So we're just basically educating them on this is what they need. And when you guys get off this call, you need to just Google a consortium, go in the FMCSA, and you're gonna read that they need this. Like, it's just like I said, it's an untapped market. A lot of people don't know about it, and it's just time for us to start, educating us on what we need to be doing.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And someone asked, is it FMCSA regulated? Yes. If you have an MC number, you should be in clearinghouse.
Yes.
Okay?
If you are a driver with a CDL, you should be in the clearinghouse. Okay. So now these are all questions you're going to be asking your carriers when you're talking to them. Hey, are you in a clearinghouse? If they have a CDL, they should be in the clearinghouse.
That part, what she just said. Is a TPA FMCSA regulated? Yes. When you say regulated, we don't have to get like a certificate or a bond or anything from the FMCSA. We just have to do, make sure we register. You'll get your software from National Drug Screening. Yeah. So, and you're listed as a TPA.
Yes. But you have to be educated. You just can't say you a TPA and like you don't know what it is. You need to be educated on what you have to be doing as a TPA. Because remember, you're charged
with the FMCSA. So like right now, if you decide, hey, I'm going to go register my company with Dependable Screening Solutions, you go to the FMCSA clearinghouse, you type in, you log in and you say designate dependable, my name, my information will pop up, and then you'll be able to select it. So if you know, so you have to be in the FMCSA's database in order for someone to select you as a clearinghouse, as a TPA.
Now, since we're talking about this,
all that,
y'all gonna hear a consortium. Like now, since we're talking about it, you're gonna hear it come up now more.
Miss Valerie said, how do I join your group? So anybody that's in my Slack group, that means they have taken a class or some type of a class or a what do you call them? A mentorship from me. So everybody that has taken a class, I dropped them in this bucket of knowledge, of information, and you can stay in there for the rest of your life and deal with me. So that's when I say group, that's what I'm talking about. Is it up to a carrier to know when his info needs to be updated, or does the consortium company remind them? And 2, is there a way to see if a person is in a clearinghouse? Okay, first question, is it up to the carrier to know when his info needs to be updated, or does the consortium company remind them?
So I just keep updated on my companies, every carrier that I have. I just go and do it. The only thing I call and tell them is when it's time to renew and they got to pay that invoice, I remind them. But other than that, I'm just automatically, you know, doing that limited query on their driver, and I'm pulling that MVR, you know, annually. So I'm just doing it on my own.
Yeah, so for me, it's a little different. So if you're a compliance client of mine, then you'll get an email from me stating what needs to be due and when it needs to be due, and if they want me to do it. So like if this coming up, they've already gotten their IFTA meeting and they've already responded saying, yeah, you know, so and so. Binary updates are due from January, February, March. VMTs are update were due. So when those things are due, you'll get an email from me stating that they're due, and do you want me to proceed? And once I proceed, you'll get an invoice stating that, you know, the job is done or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I keep a calendar on all of my clients on when what is due. So if they're coming up for insurance renewal, I'm sending them, you know, insurance renewal information, whatever is coming up for renew, they get that email. Does a non-CDL driver needs to be a part of the clearinghouse? No.
Just a CDL driver.
Just CDL driver. Is there a way to see if a person is in the clearinghouse? When you say person, yeah. So when we run a query, that's how we find out whether or not drivers are in the clearinghouse, and if they are eligible to be hired to be a CDL driver. So a lot of times, when this is why she says that people don't know about it, because 9 times out of 10, people are posting on Facebook, I need a driver, and they just hiring a driver. At no form, shape, or fashion do they go through the clearinghouse and get permission. And I say get permission because that's kind of like what you have to do. You're getting permission that this driver is clear from the FMCSA to actually drive and be on the road. So if you get stopped by DOT and you don't have a driver query, then that's a fine.
And the fines have went up. So it's very important that you are like checking that information on them, because if you're using a driver that's prohibited in the clearinghouse, the driver gets a fine, and the carrier that he's driving for gets a fine as well. Right.
So let's say you hired a driver just on strength, and he hasn't gone through an SAP program, and was supposed to go through the program. He's now in the clearinghouse as flagged by not being able to drive. But like I said, most people are they're just hiring drivers. They're not entering their drivers in the clearinghouse. Okay. Natasha, send me your email address. I'll get you added right now. I remember your name. I don't know how you didn't get in, but send me your email address. I'll get you added.
Hey, Carol, go ahead.
That was my question. So I just had another quick part of that. Is that something we can look up, or do we need to contact a compliance person to look it up?
I can look it up. I'm a TPA. Yeah, you have to be in the TPA. You have to be a TPA in order to look it up.
Look it up. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And it's called a query.
Yeah, that's a good thing for you. That's why we're saying that's a good service to add to your dispatching service, because what if you've been dispatching this truck for 6 months and this driver, he is prohibited. He can't even drive.
Mhm. Yep.
So, Tawana, can I email you or should I? Can I email you to look something up, or I'll email you now? I don't want to take it.
Absolutely. Just keep in mind, FMCSA charges for queries. So Tawana charges for queries.
It's not
So
a
I
problem.
can do the query.
The
It's
driver
not free.
also has to give you consent to do it.
Right.
So say you want to look up this driver, she can look them up for you, but he has to give consent to Tawana to see this information, because some people know that they're prohibited and they feel like if they don't give you consent, like you're not going to find out. Like it doesn't work like that.
Right.
Great.
And he'll get an email stating that somebody is trying to do a query on him.
Yes.
Okay. It's for me though, but I'll email you.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
I mean, Carol, if you don't have if you haven't failed a drug test, you shouldn't be in there.
I'm sorry. It's not for me. It's for my husband, who's a driver.
Oh, okay.
But it's a whole situation, but I don't want to go into it.
I got you. Okay, I got you.
Thank you.
Call me.
Yeah, call Tawana. She can help you with that.
Okay, thanks.
Natasha, I just sent you the link. Any other questions? Okay, so get in the habit, you guys, of I do have a referral program. So if anybody's referring their clients to me as far as TPA, I give dispatchers a referral. The same thing for compliance, but get in the habit of asking these drivers what compliance they need. Get in the habit of understanding and knowing when compliance are done. Like everybody should know binary updates are due now. So for binary updates, for those of you who don't know what that is, anybody who, where are we? If the next to the last digit of your DOT number is an even number, then your binary update is due by April 1st. Okay. So, and that's how the FMCSA does it. They don't do, it's not like the UCRs when they're all due at one time. These are due based on the second digit of your DOT number. So just get in the habit of understanding the compliance, understanding what compliance is needed and when it's due, so you can start reminding your carriers. Because if your carriers are shut down, y'all not making no money.
Nope.
So you want your clients to be in compliance as much as possible. So get in the habit of understanding what the compliance is and when it needs to be done. And then, make a list of the compliances that you want to learn how to do. And so that you can add those services.
And then we're going to get Tawana to start teaching them.
Huh? What happened?
You heard me. You heard me.
So does anybody have any other questions for tonight? I definitely want to thank Ebony. She already know I love her to pieces. Dependable would not be smelling good right now if it wasn't for her. So I definitely appreciate all you do. Thank you for coming on and dropping some gems on the people. I definitely recommend you guys to jump in that class. Again, I will get the link dropped in the Slack group. I'll send an email out as well for those of you who are not in my Slack group. Where are we? Let me make sure I talked about all my slides. Was that it? Did anybody else have any other questions? Any other questions before I dismiss the class? Nope. All right.
All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me, Tawana.
Thank you, Ebony. I appreciate you as always. All right, ladies. So that's it. So just for those who don't know, my last class is going to, well, my next class, well, kind of like my last class, it's going to be April 2nd. It's going to be a virtual class. I did it in-person class this weekend. It was so fun. Who was in my in-person class this weekend? I've seen a few people on here that was in
last class. You're not teaching no more?
Huh? It's gonna be a minute. I need to focus on it's gonna be a minute, probably about September.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't mean last ever, but it's gonna be the last in a while.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is gonna be the last one for right now. It's gonna be a virtual class. It's 2 weeks from, and it's gonna be April 2nd. So not this weekend, but the following weekend. And that's it, ladies. Anybody have any other questions? Anything else I can answer? If not, I'm gonna let everybody go and make dinner, cook dinner, eat
Oh,
dinner.
yeah, that's what I gotta do. All right, see you later.
Bye, Ebony.
Bye-bye.
Thank you guys for being here. And I look forward to seeing you guys next month.
Hey, I'm sorry. How many people gonna be in your class on the 2nd?
How many people so far?
Is it a big class? Is it a big class or just a small class?
My virtual classes are usually small.
Okay.
They're usually small. Yeah, it'll be right now. I think it's about 8 that's registered.
Okay. Me and my friend, we're finna go register now.
Come on in, babe. All right, y'all. I look forward to talking to you. Miss Tiffany, I will talk to you Saturday. Miss Carol, call me so we can get your question answered. Who else? Natasha, you got your link to join the group. And Andrea, keep me updated on that situation. Let me know if I can answer anything else about that. Okay. All right, ladies. And one gentleman. Y'all enjoy y'all night. I'll talk to y'all soon.
You too.
Thank you.
Good night.